know, you're always going to look towards it. But I think Counter-Strike is in a good state right now, and we can maybe, you know, get it better.
The pistol's going.
I would agree with you. However, you've got to play in that tournament to be able to win the money. And I've tried and failed many times. And I will not fail to throw to our casters. Vince and Dust, please take this away as we get away in Vertigo.
Thank you very much, Kyle. And, of course, the desk. Appreciate that. We are jumping straight into the first map and into the first round. The Pistols already started with M5 Academy looking to play aggressively on the CT side to try and stave off this push. And HellRaisers so far are getting up close to getting personal. They're getting them Glocks to sing. P2000 headshot delivered onto JR, drops the bomb down. And now it's a bit of a rough go of things for HellRaisers. They were looking in such a good position. Now Flaric 1v2, and it's a headshot from range from Luke, and M5 Academy do take the very first round of this best of 3. I'm not sure if Dust is actually here or not, so I'll just assume that I'm casting solo for a little bit until he gets back. I think he was anticipating we'd had a bit more of a break in between games, so I'll take this for now. But HellRaisers will be down into pistols and indeed a Soul Galil. Some grenades alongside it. Bomb dropped out in Vertigo. Our first time casting Vertigo today. Always a welcome sight from my perspective. I think it's a very versatile, volatile map at times. The changes to the B side definitely are going to open up more opportunities. Before it was pretty much just the A hit simulator. Now I think there's a bit more versatility and depth as the T's playing this one a little bit more passively. Not going for too much aggression, trying to feel out to see if M5 decide to push anywhere. For the time being, not going to be the case. And Flash is tossed out to middle, is successful in flashing up 2 players. The Galil tapping at range, but Flaric actually takes a little bit of damage. I think he was clipped through the wall, but it was from the SMG. And so therefore he is pretty much fine to just walk out of that one relatively unscathed. It's definitely Laval that comes out worse for her in that encounter. I think I just heard Dust.
Yeah, sorry. It took me a second to have the Go TV load, so I do apologize for that. Gerbil wheel computer, you know, just had to kick him in the gear.
Good times, good times. Well, we haven't missed a huge amount. Just the first round, and now the second round is starting to really kick.
Gerbils for real. Just want to clear that up. Don't. Okay. Yeah. Continue.
Sound. Moscow 5 now post plants. Looking to try and lock down some kills. It's going to be another one onto Kalinka this time, but HellRaisers did force into this, so a bomb plant on its own isn't really good enough, especially if it's going to be a clean sweep retake, especially if Moscow 5 Academy don't lose a single player on the engage, and it's going to be SMG at kills. It's the one frag onto Deadrock, but that's it. That won't be good enough for HellRaisers long term. At least they do get a bomb plant, though, and it's not a completely open shut case.
So yeah, essentially this is the elimination match. I don't know if you described that yet, Vince. So whoever loses this is actually out of the tournament altogether, which would be a pretty brutal way just to come here day one and then, oh, yep, I'm out of here. Peace, see ya. We obviously have HellRaisers returning to the mainstream after having played a marathon the opening series of the day against Espada, which was quite just the extended marathon. I mean, that's all I can really say. I did want to take him the loss there, though, after some very close games. And then we have Moscow 5 Academy, who I don't really know much about. They're basically a brand new team with a lot of brand new faces that I haven't really seen around the scene. So definitely going to be curious to see how they play. Off to a good start, it seems, so far.
Yeah, again, there's definitely an element of uncertainty and not really knowing too much of what to expect from M5 Academy. I think that was kind of highlighted on the desk that HellRaisers have some players that people have definitely heard of, likes of JR in particular, but right. Look at Moscow 5 Academy, there definitely is more question marks looming above them. But so far, they've seemingly been in pretty solid shape today, and they've obviously got through to the elimination match, and hasn't been ideal for them. HellRaisers now at range against the FAMASs, not really feeling their chances, but there's 2 kills in quick succession, so if nothing else, they're going to make this costly, HellRaisers.
Yeah, they came into this game with only 7 maps under their belt, so that just goes to show you how very little there is out there about this team. They did take a map off of Nemiga in the opening series that they played on their side of the bracket today, but ultimately did get pretty much wiped in the following 2 maps to find themselves here in the elimination stage. We're off to a good start here against HellRaisers. They're going to go up to 3-0 here on Vertigo. Which again, you know, Vertigo did have a pretty major change not that long ago with the new B entrance from middle. And so far from the games I've seen, not many teams have adjusted to that. It's still been a pretty A-heavy meta. I think over time, we will see T teams implement mid more, and that'll kind of shift the way the map is played overall, but I'm not sure when we'll see that. Maybe it'll be here. As we do see the opening gun round here from HellRaisers on their T side. Looks like they want to attack this B ramp area.
Mixture choice of HellRaisers or Vertigo, and so far hasn't started ideally for them. Double orbs on a map like Vertigo always does give me a little bit of concern. And now they're going to be pushing up ramp.
Definitely can see some value in having AWP on this map. Definitely some longer angles, particularly at A, that it can be very useful, but double op, definitely not something you see very normally. So we are going to see an equal exchange so far here on that B-bomb site. So you do see HellRaisers trying to now take up A side, but Jam's been picked up on by Luke. In the meantime, Kalinka continues to put the pressure on B side of the map. The bomb is now pivoting towards that direction as well.
Flashbang works out. Oncoming Kalinka gets blinded and finalized by Deadrock's M4. And they continue to push in. They continue to hemorrhage casualties. There's another one. They make the double up work, but it's mainly Deadrock's assault rifle work with a 4K that's going to lock it down. And M5 Academy off to a hot start, 4-0.
Yeah, that was kind of weird how that flashbang worked on the generator. I'm not sure if it was intentional or not, but somehow it still worked and completely blinded HellRaisers as they were coming up B stairs, and they got smoked because of it. We'll give them benefit of the doubt and say calculated.
No win's the win. I don't care how they get it, whether a flash was intentional or not. They still got themselves a very healthy 4-0 lead with some economy starting to build up nicely. Additionally, the T's just going to try and brunt force their way through onto the ramp, and well, it's pretty much backfired. A 2-for-2 trade, but now going to be shimming across the M5 Academy, looking good for a 5-0 lead. Larich and JR remain. JR very much worse for wear, is limping his way towards the B site with his partner in crime of Larich. He does have control of the bomb. Not the first time Deadrock's been in this position either, so I assume it will go checked. It's just they don't really have an incendiary, a flash, a HE, or anything to force him out. He's actually going to wide peek this, and in doing so, Flaric is going to just take that opportunity and run with it. That's going to be at the very least a post plant. Molotov goes down. It's not going to spread far enough to yield the denial of the bomb. And actually, it doesn't even spread far enough to get him off the bomb post the plant itself. So, not a great bit of utility. Good kill from Dursky, though. And now, Flaric stuck on the wrong side of the site is going to be dealt with last. M5 Academy concede another bomb plant. They concede 3 deaths, but they do get the round.
M5 Academy are putting it to HellRaisers right now for a bunch of names that are very unlikely to be know much about. They are definitely giving it to HellRaisers right now. Great way to kick things off on the CT side of a map that's usually been fairly T-sided, I feel like, in the past. It was like one of the most T-sided maps outside of maybe Dust 2. Again, I'm not sure how that will change with how mid's constructed now, but either way, this is a great CT start for M5 Academy.
Yeah, I feel like even with the changes to middle and B respectively, there still is, at the very minimum, a fairly balanced map. And you could definitely argue that T-side is still the better of the sides. There's not a huge amount of data to go off, of course, Dust, especially not at land since the change.
Yeah, it just seems like in theory it would spread the defensive in thinner if they have to also worry about mid being implemented, instead of being able to focus on just like A-Ramp's defense. So yeah, I would think it just opens up more options for the T's, but it also means CTs could be aggressive at middle. If they can win a fight there, they could use it to flank and stuff. So I could see it kind of going both ways, but it does seem like it's geared a bit more towards T's, which is kind of rough because it was already a T-sided map to begin with. But again, like you said, there's not a lot of data out there, so a lot of it's speculation and just kind of theory crafting. And right now, HellRaisers are on the verge of maybe winning their first round of the map. They are really locking in on this A-bomb site, and there really isn't much of a defense here in place just yet. Though we are now seeing that rotation from Luke with the AWP, who has Dursky? Is that what we're going with?
Dursky sounds right to me, yep.
Yep, fair enough. Just lined up the spray there. Does going to be a little bit of damage in as the bomb gets planted.
Post plant again. This time HellRaisers have more troops to rally behind. Just Flaric has an early casualty of war alongside Lavel. The wall bang not yielding damage, but seems like it's in the right line to maybe start to carve through some of these oncoming CTs. It's a solid lockdown. Jalaman problem, both with kills. There is a counteractive kill, but Dursky, 5 HP to his name, has a huge mountainous task ahead of him. He wants to keep that up and somehow surviving. Looking like he actually will save the AWP after all, but HellRaisers is going to strike gold for the first time on Vertigo. Again, their choice of map. So it's been a bit of a dodgy start, but at least they are going to get themselves on the boards after all.
Yeah, it's one of those things where HellRaisers picking Vertigo, I think just maybe trying to pick a lesser played map against a probably lesser experienced team in M5 Academy. Although, just being honest, HellRaisers don't really have much of a map pool. The only map that had a positive win rate coming into this series was Nuke, which actually got picked by M5 Academy, funnily enough. So it was one of those things where it's really hard to know where HellRaisers were going to go with the map pick, but they decided again to go with the map that, you know, likely M5 Academy don't have much time on. They've played it once, I think, which is an overtime loss to 100 ping gods. So that's really all there is to go off of, and it's not much. I'm grasping at straws, really.
Yeah, and I'd imagine maybe HellRaisers are too. I mean, obviously these players are from the same region, so maybe there is some overlap, and they've played in teams together in the past, they played against each other in the past, but in terms of two full rosters, HellRaisers have some results against legitimate teams, you know, Heroic North, sure they're losses, but they're at least taking maps off them. Whereas M5 Academy, there really is nothing out there. You're like looking into the void, honestly. So I wonder if that does catch them a little bit unawares here. Molotov tossed down onto ramp. There's two players down there. And M5 Academy, at least you get an even trade. A 3v3 falls upon the server with 55 seconds to play with.
Yeah, HR still haven't really decided where they want to bring this bomb just yet. They still have, I think, Kalinka trying to put pressure on B, though he has been thwarted by Deadrock, who's done severe damage to him. So that may prompt them to want to swing this bomb the opposite direction. As I say that, they kind of fall back but then reform at B, and they do have Flaric actually coming up the mid side, which Deadrock is actually watching for and spots the barrel of the weapon and gets that frag, and now is able to turn his attention towards stairs. He does go 2v2 now, but that's quickly thwarted by Lavel.
Problem. 15 seconds. That over peak is going to cost them so much. At the very least, it's an extra player that has to replenish. And at the worst, it's going to be a potential round loss. Luke not falling for the fake. Plant will come through. Here comes the peek in. Has he just been spotted? I think his shoulder may have been peaked. And now Problem changing up his angles. Going to get up close against the AWP. He's going to have that one and done sort of angle with the shot ringing out. Luke is going to go for the wide peak and connects between the shoulder blades. That's going to be another round. He nods on top of his adversary, knowing that he's bested him. And Moscow 5 Academy will move to a 6-1 lead. The round streak comes to an abrupt end, Dust. It was a one and done.
One top shot.
Oh, yes.
I'm trying to think, did he hear him maybe on the balcony, and that's why he did that? I think maybe there was a bit of noise made, and that's how Luke knew to check that side with the AWP. That's the only thing that I can guess. Either way, he went out the clutch, and it's going to be the 6-1 score. As you noted, HellRaisers only able to fit in the 1T round thus far, which, again, for how Vertigo normally plays out, is definitely a rough look. And that's why they're taking the time out to talk things over. Need to figure something out. Would hate to see them get eliminated right away here. The HellRaisers brand has always been really well known in the CIS region for years and years, and obviously, this is a very different looking team than any other HellRaisers of the past. Flaric's like the only player that has played kind of somewhat on previous iterations, and JR's a somewhat known player, but that's really about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair point to make, honestly. And HellRaisers, some people would say it's a real fall from grace, seeing how their rosters have gradually dipped. At one point, this is a team that got into the playoffs of the major, playing against Liquid in the London major. They've done pretty decently in previous majors, honestly. And now, kind of going into a bit of obscurity. But of course, this team is still young. They could still prove themselves. HellRaisers, at one point, if you remember, picked up Issa and Voxic. and people were questioning those decisions. And, well, I think it's safe to say that Voxic in particular has definitely turned some heads since those days. So you're taking a punt on some youngsters, never necessarily a bad idea, or some more inexperienced players. Flashbang over, not ideal for Luke, but they are going to be stacking on top of the box, waiting for that ramp push to come into play, which is right now. And it's at least going to take down 1 kill. It's a 1-for-1 trade, though they've lost side control, which is definitely significant. Kalinka just lurking, waiting in the shadows, going to be rewarded with a kill onto Lavel, and HellRaisers looking good for at the very minimum a post plant. And in a 4-on-3, it's looking good for them actually taking this round. But Luke has found himself Flaric as the smoke is starting to dwindle, is starting to ebb away. Damage through the walls, and Kalinka finally going to put that wall bang to use. And Deadrock can do little but look on as the rest of his teammates die around him.
Yeah, big wallbang kill there from Kalinka to add up to another. He had previously problem with a couple of big kills in this round also, so HellRaisers will be able to find a second round pretty early. They weren't in a row, but still pretty closely connected, and with that, M5 Academy's money is going to be very much in the bin. Although I do have this question, Vince. There is no actual Moscow 5 team right now, so why is it M5 Academy? I've never understood that. Same with Gambit Youngsters. There's no Gambit. There hasn't been in Gambit in forever. So why is there a Gambit Youngsters?
It's a good question.
I
I don't really know the answer to that. I mean, I can only assume maybe they're eyeing up a potential roster for their main fit.
Gambit's been waiting a hell of a long time to do it.
Yeah. No, I think it's fair. I don't really know. Maybe I'm just having like a derpy moment here, but I can't really logically answer that question.
I think that's the point, is there is none. Either way, this has just been kind of a mop-up round is why I brought it up. Didn't really see a whole lot coming out of there from M5 Academy, and you couldn't expect much. They were just on pistols, and still they don't have very much money. It's going to be 6-3. HellRaisers finally starting to get their T-side established. As I say that, they're actually still a decent buy coming out of M5 Academy. They do have a couple of FAMAS. They have the AWP on Luke. It's going to be Glass Cannon, though. And they don't have much utility, and they have 0 kits.
I feel like Vertigo offers more options, though, to try and aggressively defend the CT, so I'm not having kits isn't the end of the world compared to many of the other maps in the pool, right? But that's, of course, if they play aggressively. That's if they can stall the pushes and deny a bomb plant from coming. If they do, they're going to be in trouble, but I suspect that with their weaponry, to be honest, may not go that far. HellRaisers already congregating down on B. No presence over onto A whatsoever. So no prizes for guessing which side is likely to be engaged on if they do pull the trigger now. Obviously, with over a minute to play with, they can always change their mind.
It's very true. They do still have plenty of seconds to tick away before they make a final decision on where they want to place this bomb, but we're seeing more and more evidence that B is the intended target with the smokes now being laid out. There's a counter incendiary from Deadrock, and plenty of CTs are in position, Vince. It's going to be a tough one to break open.
It's a beautiful flashbang, though. Lavel can't do much, but he allows that first player to cross, and they don't see each other. They pass alongside one another, and now the CTs are starting to get quartered. They're starting to get drawn away from the site and from each other, but that lineup nearly works out for Raider. He's got 2 runs out of ammunition. And that Molotov, a little bit too deep. It's not going to bother Kalinka. Now it's going to spread. Now it's going to force Kalinka away. With 20 seconds to play with, Dursky going to be peeking in one more time. Can't stop the bomb plant, but can do significant damage. Both players are exceptionally low. And how does Kalinka survive? I thought that was Dursky's to win. I was sure he was going to take that round down.
I thought he might get like a 2-for-1 or something. I mean, they were so lined up for him, and it seemed like he maneuvered just at the right time. As you said, the Molotov had its intended effect of delaying the plant, and it gave him a chance to swing, but just didn't quite connect the dots. And so HellRaisers are going to be gifted the 4th round. And very likely a 5th, considering M5 are just on Deagles. 1 P250 on Dursky, no utility, only Raider with armor.
Now the times have changed, Dust, from cruise control 5-0 to 6-4 with a bad economy.
Yes. Ooh.
I see one tap from Luke. That's going to wake people up.
Yep.
Yeah, that's always the curse of the CT side, though. You can be 5-6 rounds in the lead, but if the rounds have been close and you just happen to lose a couple in a row, your economy is flushed away. Big entry, a cheeky little angle up on the boxes. On the scaffolding is going to at least yield the one frag, but this is where things should fall into place for the T's. Deadlock is making this, or Deadrock, pardon me, is making this a little bit more costly than they were hoping for, and they still haven't got the plant down, so this round's not over just yet.
His name's not Deadrock, Vince. It's D34DR0CK.
Have fun saying that each time.
Yep.
Rolls off the tongue. Oh, as the bullet rolls off his forehead. Hell of a shot from JR, and HellRaisers 5 of the last 6 rounds.
Yeah. We'll go with Deadrock. I think that's fair. Oh, it's kind of a weird, like, I don't know how a rock could ever be alive.
You might be overthinking nicknames here, Dust. That's
Yeah,
a horrible smoke. Nowhere near the intended effect. The idea is it bounces off the scaffolding on the ramp and it bounces down towards the T side of the ramp. Instead, it's just bounced in the middle of nowhere. Not having the desired impact at all, or the desired effect.
No. So we're seeing kind of Jam being the solo A lurk right now, while the rest are looking to kind of start boosting up and maybe taking some presence towards B side of the map. We've really seen HellRaisers favor the B side, which is a little bit off meta of what we've seen in the past for this map. Usually it's the other way around, where B gets neglected, and mid is used only occasionally as a lurking option.
Oh, no problem.
Scott
He's
ripped.
livid. He's livid about that wall back.
Almost every bullet connected, it felt like there. He had no chance.
It's great for Kalenka and M5 Academy seemingly like they're about to crumble again after getting that cheeky wallbang to start things off. Dursky still alive, could have banked the nade off the scaffolding onto a couple of oncoming ramp players, but just tickling them. Apple with the flank. This could be the round-winning moment. This could be huge. Does he wait? Does he bide his time? He spots one. There's a second. There's the round to follow, surely. And even though JR did rattle off the frag onto Deadrock, it's a worthwhile bait. It's a worthwhile endeavor. 1v2, 15 seconds, and Flaric is moving in to try and pounce onto the bomb, to pounce onto the site, but he doesn't know where these two CTs are anymore, and so he looks to save the AWP instead.
Good maneuver from Labo, just a perfectly timed flank. At first, it was looking like HellRaisers were going to find the window. Like, they did a good job pressuring B. They got, obviously, the raw end of the deal on a spam, but then they were able to quickly pivot over to A side and actually get a good little pincher maneuver through ramps and short, but just that flank from Labo, man, paid dividends.
One of the beautiful things about Vertigo is you can go in for these very aggressive and fast rotations and flanks.
Yep.
When they work, you look like a genius. When they don't, not so much. They've already got caught once from Kalinka that was waiting. Go in for that boost, but they're going to take some damage through the walls. Not as much as before when that used to be a wooden wall, mind you.
Yeah.
Oh, Dursky, that spray transfer is so very sweet, and he's going to be reaping the rewards of his skill as he ebbs out of there with 2 kills to his name and gives M5 a huge advantage.
HellRaisers still wanting to hit this A bomb site. They're throwing a bit of a distraction by putting Kalinka over towards B to try to sell a bit of a fake, but it's been caught immediately. And still, all the presence from HellRaisers is still going towards this side, and Dursky is still continuing to be the guardian of this catwalk area. He is not allowing anyone through. And so it is going to be an 8th round for M5 Academy. They've now won a couple in a row. They obviously had the hot start where they were up 6-1. And so they've really made a big half of this.
That frag distribution on M5 is pretty sick as well. 4 players on 11, Raider on 7. Like, everyone pulling their weight. No one slacking. Big grenade as well onto Kalinka. Kick off round 14. shrapnel in his teeth. Only 3 smokes remain for HellRaisers. Not a single flash or HE or Molotov, which are definitely big pots on this map. You can get rid of a lot of nasty angles on the approach if you have the right utility. So this is going to be down to maybe JR getting a pick with his AWP. We know he can play aggressively when he's called upon, but he's had a bit of an off game, 5 and 10 so far for one of their best, and I think it's arguable to say that he can be one of their star players. They've got the ramp at least for the time being, but it's what they do with this. They've got 2 smokes remaining. Can maybe blot out the sun for the likes of Luke, who is going to be flashing over. Lands successfully, stalls a little bit longer. 55 seconds to play with, and Luke is now peering back down again. It has actually stacking most of the players towards middle and B, though, so they're going to have to get a move on with that third player, which is Raider, who's now moving into position. Smoke's landing, Molotov tossed out, extinguished instantly, going to be boosting on top of the box, not for the first time, but it might be a little bit too late. They've also been spotted from range. They now know 2 players are there. They're going to try speculative smoke bang. Nothing's connecting, but they're going to see Luke as well, who misses his AWP shot. So with minimal investment to utility, HellRaisers in a 4v4 and a very winnable 4v4, because now everything changes on its head. Now all of the impetus, all of the pressure is going to fall upon M5 to go ahead for the retake. Luke connects with 1, but jumps up too prematurely, doesn't allow Deadrock a chance to realistically do anything from this. And now a 1v3, and he'll be looking to just save maybe that AWP that fell from Luke's hands. But the round is over. HellRaisers have picked this one up, and to add salt in the wounds, Deadrock will not be able to save the AWP.
And it's really good kind of, that's like that old school A pressure with the smoke wall down and just kind of slowly, you know, encircling the site. And it's like every time that M5 Academy tried to make some type of elevated op play, whether it was the initial boost and then the second time they tried to go for a jump peek, both times they got caught. And so when you're trying to make the retake happen with AWP, you're trying to do some trickery and you get busted on both of your gimmicks. It's just basically shut everything down. But as I say that, Luke has found a way to put the op to use already in this round, the final round of the half. He's gotten a big pick here over towards B, and he's going to look for more, and he's going to get it. He finds JR. Luke quick on the trigger there. So M5 Academy still could find a 9th round despite the woes of the previous round. Oh, that's been saved by the generator vents.
Mate, he took 29 damage from an AWP shot. What is that generator made out of? Like adamantium?
I don't know, but I want a suit of armor of it.
Yeah, right?
It's, you know, just a 50 cal bullet. Absolutely got tanked by it.
Well, you heard it here, military. If you're listening, just build your tanks out of generators.
No.
Easy peasy.
Also, the people in this game are just absolute ridiculous superhumans to be able to fire 50 caliber weapons and just like it's no big deal. Just still staying like just monster triceps, dude. Just barrel-sized triceps.
Good luck in real life. You'll dislocate your shoulder for sure. Flaric in the meanwhile, though, last player left, 1v5, bombed down, and actually it's a clean sweep to finalize the half. It started well, it ended well for Moscow 5, with the middle portion being pretty much all of HellRaisers.
Yeah, they had a little bit of a stint there where they were getting some work done, but M5 was the alpha and the omega of the half, so to speak, and that gives them a pretty solid lead as they go onto their T side. Again, frag distribution for them has been fantastic. Not only that, but the ADR spread's also been pretty good for a couple of their players. Also winning the utility damage game in a pretty big way, as well as having way more effective flashes. So just all around, they've been playing well.
Yeah, Laval's going to be loving that. Just lavishly given that first kill onto Kalinka. He was looking to try and wrap around the back from stairs, or the ladder, I should say, and he will pay the ultimate price for his hubris. M5 haven't really pulled the trigger behind that. They haven't gone for a knee-jerk reaction either, Dust. They're going to be playing this one slowly and passively up towards assessing their options and figuring out what's best to go forward.
Gonna go for that B boost fence. Get behind the boards. Looks like they do have a smoke set up here from Deadrock to help them get onto the B-bomb site. At least I believe that's what it is. Also a Molotov for that back corner. It's going to be great because there is a CT sitting in that corner.
Ooh, that flick from Dursky. Holy, that is beautiful. But Flaric is up to the task with 3 kills. He runs out of bullets, and now Dursky's going to pick up the mantle. It's been a real crazy pistol. There's a knife killing amongst all of the frenzy. The bomb's still yet to be planted. 1v1 level started the round with the first tap, and he's going to be on the receiving end of the last one. It's going to go the way of HellRaisers, and what an important moment that may end up being in the grand scheme of this best of 3.
Wow, man. Yeah, Dursky hits a blinder of a one-tap with the Glock, only for Flaric to say, hold my beer, and let me show you how the one-tapping's really done, as he just fires off 3 with the USP in rapid succession, which is a key reason why HellRaisers wound up stealing that round away, because it was looking pretty good for M5 Academy. Again, they had the great utility. They had flushed out the first CT with the Molotov in the corner. They got that kill. It was looking good, but the rotation was so fast from HellRaisers, and Flaric was just popping off. Now they get to reap the benefits, able to get the M4s and SMGs in play, as well as one from us.
Flaric, bit of an off angle. You don't often see players put behind that sandbags, and it definitely caught them unaware with the M4. Meanwhile, HellRaisers now romp towards an 8th round, and it's looking like they're not going to lose a single player in the process, which allows them to run this gambit once again into the next round. They can keep these 2 MP9s, 9-8 the score. And M5 now have the pressure mounting. Also, they can get a buy, but it's not going to be fantastic on a couple of these players.
Absolutely right. Let's see if M5 Academy can strike right back and hit the double digits first. Try to take advantage of the fact that it's kind of HellRaisers playing with SMGs still. Trying to get that bonus round going. They've got B on lock, that's for sure. Also trying to play aggressively on A ramp as well, so kind of double-pronged aggression from HellRaisers. Definitely denying space to M5 Academy in a pretty big way.
Yeah, M5 playing this one cautiously, as you'd expect. People look to try and smash one of these sites. It's a good counter flash tossed in. The MP9 shredding through the head of Raider. This is almost the perfect outcome for HellRaisers. You keep 2 MP9s in play. If you can close this out comfortably, you're going to be able to trade up those SMGs to AK-47s. Moscow 5 are going to be into a half-buy eco situation. This really is the dream scenario for HellRaisers kicking off their CT side.
Oh, absolutely. You get to upgrade to AK-47s. You got to reap the benefits of the SMG money bonus. You're going to win this round perhaps flawlessly, so you're going to really keep the bank building. As I say that, Caster's Curse as Kalinka has been taken out. Ooh. Another as well. He's actually going to be able to get the bomb planted now because of this Vince, and has a 1v3 ahead of him, with JR actually low on health. This is possible, but it's probably slim chances. And yeah, it doesn't really progress much for him. But hey, he gets a couple of kills on a bomb plant, so not bad.
Exactly, yeah. You took the words right out of my mouth there, because, I mean, when you're looking at a 1v5, you're thinking, well, maybe he gets a kill, that's it. Nah, 2 kills plus a bomb plant, that's a really solid effort. They can't really ask for more from...
True. Gives him some options here in this round. And he's looking to buy up pretty heavily. I would have thought maybe they would have taken more of like a middle ground approach and then fully bought in the next round, but instead they decide to throw everything into this one, which includes 4 AKs and a Galil Unlimited utility. We're trying to make a fast play here out at middle. Flaric feels that pressure and falls back as best he can. He even gets a kill on his way out.
They can't understate how smart and intelligent that player was from Flaric, and now it's down to Raider. He only gets the 1 kill from Flaric's perspective, but it was so important for him to stay alive, to call that the play was coming in, to bolster up the defense, because if he dies, it means they can actually flood ramp a lot easier, not having to worry about the CT aggression. Now, Raider should be able to get this kill onto Jalaine, was just waiting to see if he can find a second player pushing up the stairway. Wasn't the case, so he takes the kill that he's given. But HellRaisers really are looking like a formidable force on their CT side. But I suppose we have to also give the caveat here, Dust, that, yeah, sure, this is what M5 started on their CT side as well, and then things started to slip away a little bit. So are HellRaisers able to do what Moscow 5 were unable to pull off when they were CT?
It's about whether or not they can stay consistent all the way through, whether they'll let M5 Academy back into it. Problem, once that smoke grenade, it's just stuck under the stairs. That is interesting. Don't really see that. I think he did finally grab it, and he'll put it down.
All players can be relatively content to just allow this round to come to its natural conclusion.
Yes.
With 4 players alive, Moscow 5 now going to be trailing. For the first time in this match, it should be highlighted, they've been leading up until this point, or at least going even. That will no longer be the case. HellRaisers now taking the...
Tough to know who really has the edge at this point. Like, the way it's played out, it seemed like M5 Academy had such a strong CT side. I really was favoring them, but HellRaisers are so far equally having a strong CT side. It's been kind of a change of pace here. Control has been taken away from M5 Academy in a pretty big way. And, I mean, coming into this, I would have expected HellRaisers to have the edge, despite the fact that their map pool is really shallow and they've had really rough results overall, to be honest, since they've come together. And they haven't been together very long. I mean, M5 Academy's resume is basically empty. So I would have thought that they would have a great chance to pull it off and stay in the tournament, but M5 Academy's really made it hard on them. And in fact, like I said, moments ago, it looked like they were in full control of the game, but now things look a lot different.
Oh, that's a dirty smoke, and Flaric has got 2 from it. Another one-way. We've seen a few of these little cheeky one-ways today on Mirage and now Vertigo, and he could spot all of those players' feet underneath the smoke as they tried to cross. 2-4 trade, a solid outcome, and Raider, who had picked in the only AK after surviving the previous round, already tagged down to 19. I'm very surprised he's not tossing that to somebody else. There we go, because they all have Kevlar. So it doesn't really make any sense. They're going to give this to Dead Rock and allow him to try an entry. He's going to drop the bomb. Doesn't want to drop this in a horrible spot. They finally got everything fixed and sorted out with who's going to be using which weapons.
Yep,
Jump up on the boot.
Yeah. Just tries to kind of get you an angle having to come up the stairs. Counter smoke does come in, though, from Problem. He does have some support as well from Heaven. It's going to be Kalinka, and they'll combine together for a couple of big kills, leaving Dursky alone with Tech 9. And he is quickly dealt with after just 1 frag from his weapon. 3 guns saved over from HellRaisers, up 11-9. But here's where M5 Academy can get back into full buy territory. Let's see what type of tactics they have up their sleeve. I imagine we're going to see that Nate's again at some point, at least, where they took the quick mid control. I feel like that's definitely something that they want to implement later on, because it seemed like they definitely had that down.
Oh, that smoke does nothing for them at all. It's a massive gap in the smoke, and Jalaim, in the meanwhile, down ramp, will vaporize the second player of, I believe it was Rick.
Yeah. It's absolutely strange on the side.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a one-sided half. I mean, sure, you got 4 players in the pistol round, and you saw some crazy flicks in there, but since then, they've got 6 kills in the next 4 rounds. So you're seeing HellRaisers' economy booming up. They've looked really, really confident. That's a big pick, though, but Lavel's whiffed his flash, and there's going to be one tossed in retaliation, so Kalinka wasn't affected by the first flashbang. Definitely helped him to stand his ground and just basically pummel Lavel on the approach.
Yeah.
Let's go
This
find
looked a bit disjointed.
They do, yeah. There seems like a lack of chemistry.
Yeah.
They're winning duels, they're getting picked apart like left and right. I mean, this is looking like a grim T half.
Really is. Just lacks a little bit of coordination, and I'm sure it comes down to, again, being a newer team, only having like 7 official games under your belt coming into this. Lots of these players just individually don't have lots of experience outside of this team. It's a very similar story to, like, you know, Problem and Yam. Like, I mean, they're very much a similar situation. They didn't really have much experience. Same for the entirety of Crazy. A lot of new teams in this. But at least there's some experience on the HellRaiser side. But look at this. This deco situation has turned out really great for M5 Academy. They have a great chance to win this now.
That's the change of pace that Vertigo allows you to go for, is just the all-out rush. And oftentimes it will just pay out. It's not really the kind of play that you can bank on time and time again. I thought Problem with this chance. He went for the lurk round side. Kind of bit off more than he could shoot. Needed to finish the first kill before he started the second one, but those 2 kills have gave him a pivot point to work off. And now Lavel stuck on the sandbag, sprayed in from Problem. That is a huge flank that saves the day for HellRaisers.
Yeah.
And we'll get them into a 13th round.
And like you said, Problem almost had a nightmare. But did wind up getting both the kills he needed, making the flank very impactful and taking what was a very scary situation where it looked like they might cough up the round and actually converting it. So it's 13-9 for HellRaisers. That bomb plant, though, plus the fact that that was a save in itself anyway, gives M5 Academy a chance for a proper full buy. But again, they haven't really shown us much on this.
Yeah, other than just an all-out rush, which kind of caught HellRaisers off guard more than anything else that they were unable to finalize. It's been pretty tragic, this T-half, and Jalane's going to get 3 kills with the M4. Perched up at the top of ramp, Raider now taking the fight up close, still comes out second best in that trade. And Level can't do too much about this. Stuck on the ramp still. He's going to be the last player to come in. He's just gradually jiggle peeking his way around the corner. JR flicks, misses, but information gathered. And in the meanwhile, Lavel in the back of his mind will be thinking, well, they flanked a couple rounds ago. They flanked last round. I am living on borrowed time here. I do need to watch my back. And in doing so, that's where it can be effectively killed from so many different angles.
Yeah, Lavel's in definitely a tough spot where there's just not a whole hell of a lot that he can really do. He's just stuck, and he will get picked up. And that's now 8 rounds in a row from HellRaisers. All 8 rounds, in fact, this half going their way. And of those 8 rounds, they've only lost 2 players or less in 6 of the 8 rounds. So it's been very dominant stuff. There've only been a couple of rounds where they've had it come close.
Yeah, I mean, to put it in perspective here, Dust, the last 6 rounds they've won, they've only lost 11 players. That's averaging less than 2 player deaths per round.
Yeah, I mean,
so that's doing nothing for the economy. It's not really bringing them to their knees. And you're seeing, even after a full buy, you have everybody over $5,000.
I mean, 3 of them are, you know, near or above 10,000 post-buy, so they are really just swimming in cash right now like Scrooge McDuck. And M5 Academy have yet to really show us much of anything. They finally have an op on Luke on the T side, which I don't think we've really seen except maybe one other time, so I'm not sure if that maybe will change things for them, help them out, create a new spark. But Utility has been shutting them down on the B front time and time again. They're going to try to push after the fact and see if they can figure something out.
There's that one way again from Flaric. This time he's going to have no customers. Not going to be able to cash in on any freebies. Deadrock now taking it slow and steady alongside his teammate just ahead of him, which is going to be Lavel. There are 2 players there, one of which is hiding in the close angle, which is Kalinka with his flash in. Doesn't really deter JR at all. There's a Molotov traded for a smoke, and I don't really see what Moscow 5 get from that. And that's the position I was talking about from Kalinka, and he does have some support as well momentarily. He may not need it. 2 kills down and heavy damage inflicted to the third, which Problem will clean up. It's a beautiful trade and a beautiful crossfire, and HellRaisers again just looking so powerful on this CT side.
Yeah, they're really just kind of showing you what you're capable of on the CT side if you have good spawns on the B side of the map to be able to get in some very tricky positions that are very hard to clear, to get control of stairs, to give you that option. Not only that, but we obviously know what utility that CTs are able to use on A ramps, slow T's down there as well. And it's pretty much all she wrote here. This has been one of the more one-sided games we've seen all day long, really. Not just in score, but just in also how the rounds have visually looked. As a spectator, that's going to be map point now for HellRaisers. Again, this is an elimination best of 3. Loser is going to be out of the tournament. Winner will move on to tomorrow to play in another type of elimination match, basically.
I mean, you're absolutely spot on, but it's crazy to say that we're moving into our third best of 3, and this has been the most one-sided game, and it's 9-15. Like,
yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of
how many close ones. Yeah,
I think we had one other 16-9. It was like the last map we casted of the last series, right? The Mirage game.
Yeah, it was 16-9, 16-10, something like that. Luke, though, there's a scout headshot, maybe, just maybe, way back in, and a tag.
Yeah, I'm really looking for a miracle there to get more than one frag out of that situation. Does get the one response, but still M5 Academy sitting pretty after it's all said and done at that 8 ramps exchange. They'll do have some life still left in them after all. Now they're going to double back over to B side, which is completely empty. It is free for the taking. HellRaisers had to kind of gamble since they only had 3 remaining, and unfortunately they were in the wrong spot. They still could go for this because they have so much money, but I wouldn't fault them for just saving, considering how out of position they are.
Yeah, likewise. I think it's it's a bit of pill to swallow when it goes to saving and pulling the plug, but maybe that's the ideal situation. That kill back onto Raider could lull them back in. And keep in mind, the economy for the T's isn't great, so this is definitely justifiable now. Definitely a worthwhile endeavor. Flaric will definitely fancy himself. The way he's been playing has been pretty solid, but he's moving into the crosshair level, and he will be fragged down. But look at the damage that's done. Most funds that they have is 4.2k on Dursky. That's it.
Yeah, it means they're not going to have an option. And it really kind of limits the utility if they're going to also, rebuy the AKs. So definitely still does do a lot of economic damage despite the victory for M5 Academy. You see an SG out on Luke. That is not something you see too often these days after its big nerf, but I guess it still gives you somewhat of a scoped option since he couldn't afford an op, and maybe he didn't want the scout again. Still can be useful for tapping situations like that, and there you have it.
That was, it's an interesting pickup. It's definitely a weapon that's seen a fall from grace, no doubt. Raider trying to transfer to a second kill. Peaks, good flashbang, good kill. Very important for Moscow 5 to keep that flame burning a little bit longer. JR and Problem still going to put up a bit of a fight, so definitely don't write out these two HellRaisers boys, but there's no doubt that these early trades have certainly given Moscow 5 every opportunity to extend this map at least one more round here.
Yeah.
Raider is watching for the push. Nothing's going to be forthcoming. There is still a player on A, which is going to be JR with the AWP. And he is more than skillful enough to hold this on his own, but he's missed the first shot, which is going to be a very telling moment in this round. Had he have landed it, then there's definitely a way that he could re-peak that angle, but missing it is pretty huge, and Raider is now on the flank. He's on the long con. Headshot delivered, changing up his angles of aggression, anticipating the save via CT spawn, or just going to try and choke out his adversaries. He wants his hands on that AWP. I'm sure Luke would like to pick it up from him. Just playing safe as well, getting the bomb elsewhere. No scope onto Raider. Still has all of his HP, does JR. Just checking all of his angles, showing due diligence. There's another one. This is now in the realms of possibility. The downside, he doesn't have a kit, and time is starting to ebb away from him, but he does have an incendiary. If he can get this kill quickly, this round is still very doable, but he has to be careful where the last player is residing, and he's coming up round the back. It's going to be Luke with the SG. He's going to catch him on the rotation, on the save, and pick up the AWP. Well played, Moscow 5.
Indeed, that's now 2 in a row after, again, what was a landslide from HellRaisers, where they went on a tear of 9 rounds in a row with the majority of the rounds surviving with 3 or more members. Now you're starting to see M5 Academy piece together a couple. The economy is actually starting to finally get low on HellRaisers. They can still buy this round, but next they wouldn't be able to, and that's when M5 Academy could maybe push it to 13-15 before HellRaisers could buy again. So they actually have really opened the door on this match all of a sudden. Like, it looked like this thing was about to get dusted off at 15-9, but now all of a sudden new life has been breathed into things. M5 Academy are once again kind of defaulting most of their forces towards the A ramp.
Flames burning in the background. Smoke in the foreground for Jay. Looking to change up his vision for the time being. Magnifying his attention towards the A side. 2 players up on the side. JR, one of which is going to break the deadlock in round 27. HellRaisers going to retort with some aggression. Mix up the pace, get in the face of the CTs. It's worked out for them for the time being, but now Jalem's going to show his position with the M4. 2 kills go his way. No third will be forthcoming as he peeks out a little bit prematurely. There was no potential of help from Kalinka, who sprayed through the smoke, and unbeknownst to him, was nearly dead on the button for getting the kill. And that probably would have been the map done. As it stands, though, Deadrock and Laval able to muster up the strength to maybe pull off this 2v3 retake. All the emphasis now shifting across to the CTs, who are going to be one-dimensional in their retake, but Laval's missed. He shot through the 2 of them, and that could give them enough ground to get up close and deal the fatal blows to a couple of these players. The bomb's not planted safely for the CTs, and the kill's now coming back thick and forth, and now Frolic last person in, and Laval's going to get it done. I can't believe that Moscow 5 actually kept this going. I thought when Laval missed that shot, it was done.
Yeah, the thing is, the CTs had no way to safely defuse that bomb. They didn't have a smoke to put on top of the bomb. They didn't, again, have really any coverage. The bomb was planted for A-Ramps area, so they really just needed either to be able to push and get the kills with some type of pop flash, or just swing and hope for the best, or they would have needed, M5 Academy to really, pull a blunder, but none of those things happen. So M5 Academy get the 12. Again, very good chance for 13. HellRaisers' money is very, very low. They know that. They're taking the time out to talk things over. I imagine at most we're going to see some P250s here, and the rest will be saved to try to full buy in the next round. So this is still coming down to the wire, despite how dominant things looked from HellRaisers. Again, 9 unanswered rounds to kick things off. I mean, M5 Academy had a hot CT start in their own right, but not to the same level of HellRaisers. And it's been map point for some time, but M5 Academy might finally be able to put HellRaisers in real danger. In fact, they've already done so, really. I think that threshold's already been met.
Certainly. They're in danger. And the alarm bells will be ringing in the distance, but they're going to get ever closer with each passing round. Now, this somewhat of a foregone conclusion. You have a P250 and 4 USPs. It's hard to see how anything sticks unless M5 move into a really awkward position and honestly make a couple of derpy decisions. Ideally, they should know that the economy from HellRaisers is going to be, at the very best, a half buy, as a headshot has connected early on. They're going to be charging through, but a well-placed smoke is going to force the CTs to push through there, but they at least get the kill onto Dursky in amongst it. Now, if the AWP falls, that could certainly be a couple banana peels. Now, Flaric in a good position to at least spot the first couple players, but it's only a USP. If that's a Deagle, if that's a P250, maybe, but now Jalen round the back and a USP kill comes in. Flaric's got 2. What the hell? How? How are we in a position where this is a winnable round? It was 4 USPs and a P250. No Kevlar to be seen. Now, maybe Raider can still pull this one out of the fire with his Mac-10 jumping, bobbing, and weaving. And now Flaric with his USP is all that remains, but there's 30 seconds. Time itself has become an adversary. Time itself is a nuisance, a real pain, a threat for Raider to contend with. He is moving up close. He wants to try and get that Mac-10 as close as possible towards Flaric, who's now picked up the AK-47. That one-tap potential is very real, very possible, but Raider holds his nerve. Raider holds the line, and Moscow 5 do just about continue on this map.
Man alive, I thought that game was about to be over. Flaric doing so much work with that USP. A great flank came in. It was starting to add up for HellRaisers somehow, despite such inferior firepower. They just miss. But they do have the full buy here to still try to win it here in regulation, here and now. And I feel like a round like that, even if you lose, it's got to give you some confidence.
Nothing slow about this to start things off for HellRaisers. Taking ramp control from 2 separate angles. There is going to be a slight gap in that smoke. If they're not careful, Luke could maybe pin. Or not. The spray is so on point from Jalen. There's a 3rd. Surely this is where HellRaisers convert and they take the first map. It's a 2v5. Laval and Deadrock. All that remain.
I'm just so surprised they just walked through that smoke like that. without any sort of pop flash, or if there was one, it certainly missed the mark. Just so easy for JLM and company there. Basically got gift wrapped those frags, Vince. It just seems so out of character for what we've seen from them the rest of this comeback effort.
I mean, the only thing I could think of is it's like reverse psychology, you know? They're not expecting us to push through the smoke, so maybe we can catch them in transition and we can just basically win the round off that. But it's such a big gamble, and the risk versus reward's just not worth it. Like, you fail that call, it doesn't go the way you want, the map's done. Like, we're in a position now where, I mean, barring a miraculous clutch, this should be over. Kalinka, perfect position to deal with Laval. It's now a 1v5, and Deadrock's position is known. First kill maybe goes his way. He's taken a little bit of damage. There we go, but he's only got 8 HP left. It would have been one of the plays of the year. It won't be happening, but it will be going the way of HellRaisers. 16-13 of their choice of map.